that's gay, right? If you're a guy and you grew up, certainly if you grew up in the part of the country where I grew up, you heard that's gay, and in a way that was condoning something that is potentially good for you. I mean, excuse me, condemning, not condoning. I had condoning in my mind because I'm like, wanted to make sure that I'm saying that I do not condone this use of this word in this way. But a lot of us were conditioned with this, and even if it wasn't that specific terminology, a lot of guys have had beaten into them and made fun of into them the sense that like doing something that is like soft or open or sensitive or good for you or healthy even is that it's gay and that there's something wrong with you or that you're a wussy, or that's the polite version of that word. And so Bill Burr has a great clip on this called, if you look it up on YouTube, and it's actually incredibly insightful. It's not just funny, and maybe Bill Burr is not your cup of tea, but I really like inappropriate humor. But in any event, Bill Burr's got a great clip on this that is psychologically very astute, and it's called "What Are You, a Fag?" And it's, and I absolutely mean no disrespect to anyone by using this terminology. I'm just talking about the conditioning that men get beat into them and what it's been like to let go of that. So I'm going to get into that. First, I want to do a little bit of logistics. Say hello, hi mom, I see you, and then also drop a hello in the comments. Drop a thumbs up if you would like access to the free class that I did on the relating revolution. This is a really kind of a unique approach. It's nothing really like couples counseling. It's something that is extremely practical, and we teach you tools of things that you can actually do to rewire your brain, to rewire your chemistry, to rewire your nervous system, to activate hormones, etc., so that you can actually have the felt, tangible experience of love, trust, connection, and joy. And so it's very light on like the processing, and so it's very practical and methodical. And so it's something that guys can often relate to in a stereotypical fashion, but women love it too. And one of the things that they also love about it most is that their guys are into it. So if you want a free video class about that, let me know. The next Relating Revolution group starts the week after Valentine's Day. So private message me if you want some info about that. Drop a thumbs up if you want the video. So in any event, back to this, what are you gay or what are you a fag conditioning, and what I've learned about letting go of some of the typical bullshit, masculine, toxic conditioning. And what I've really learned as I've practiced and I've healed and as I've grown and as I've studied the nervous system is that it's simply just practical. If we are beating ourselves up, anger. If we are shaming ourselves, anger. So the surviving part of the brain has three options: fight, anger, flight, fear, freeze, depression, and shame. If we are beating ourselves up, we are guaranteed that we are in one of those or all of them, or vacillating in and around all of them. If we are whipping ourselves into our shape, if we are saying, suck it up, or you're tough, and there is something to some of that, but we can't swing the pendulum too far. So, but when the simple fact of the matter is that all change work, all self-growth work really does have to come from a foundation of self-acceptance and self-love, or else it won't work. If you're sitting there going, go to the gym, I gotta go to the gym because I gotta just fucking do it. Come on. And you're trying to whip yourself into shape. If we're trying to whip ourselves into shape, you are activating the survival part of the brain that will actually sabotage the results and eventually will have you rebel against them. It will eventually have your body kind of identify that this is dangerous on a very subtle neurological level, and I'm going to resist and resist and resist and resist. And then we have this part of us that's going, I should do it, and then a part of us going, no, I shouldn't do it, right? The proverbial two shoulders thing, and that tension, that inner tension, absolutely dissipates our energy and destroys our motivation. And sooner or later, we're just back to the same old, same old. So with this conditioning that a lot of people have gotten, maybe it's not just guys, and I don't mean to be exclusive about that, but I'm just talking about my experience because this is the 30-day expose my truth challenge. And so I'm just talking about my experience of this and what the breakthroughs that I've had with loving myself, something that I would have been, considered that's gay or that's soft or that's sissy, has been profound and far, far from being soft or anything that you want to say, that even if soft is a negative, which it's not, far from being anything that it doesn't take. That takes more courage than any sort of toughness, any sort of macho. I've done tough things. When I was playing athletics, the one kind of the bit of attention that I got from the NHL from a professional hockey scout was a guy who gave me his card. A Boston Bruins scout gave me his card after he saw me in a game, wheel off and sock someone in the eye and split their eye open. And this guy was a really great player that I did this to. And he came and gave me a card and was like, would you be willing to take boxing lessons if we paid for them? Right? So I've done tough things, and there's nothing tougher. There's nothing more challenging than being open and vulnerable and loving, and especially about the stuff that we feel shame about and that we feel that feels really difficult to lean into. And so that takes real, if you want to put it in those terms, that takes real balls. That takes real guts. And so what I've done as a practice to transform this is just the practice of radical love. I know what it feels like to love, right? Hopefully every single person knows what it feels like to love. So I can activate it by just invoking what it feels like to love. Maybe I love my kid and I know what that feels like. I love my puppy. I know what that feels like. I love whatever it is that we love. We can invoke that feeling. And then we need to direct it literally towards ourselves. We need to have that same feeling for ourselves. And I'm willing to eat well and exercise, and not because I'm trying to whip myself into shape or because I hate something about myself. That is not a sustainable motivation. But because I love myself enough to do that, to treat my body as a temple, to treat my mind as, as sacred, to cultivate my spirit, to lean into those intimate moments, to be soft and to be open, to really kind of enjoy and really be, some of the most challenging things are like, can I really be open when stuff is difficult? When I'm arguing with my partner, can I open? Can I give her a hug anyway? Can I let my guard down? Can I, when my kids are annoying me and frustrating me, or when they're hurt, whoa, that's a big trigger for me. Can I still hold them and just be present with them and not freak out, not get angry, right? Though that's really the tough stuff, and that's really the rich and the rewarding stuff in life. So what I do is I recognize that I don't have this perfect capacity to unconditionally love myself, or anything for that matter. But anything that I don't unconditionally love is my opportunity. That's my gym. That's my spiritual gym. We got to exercise everything, but that's my spiritual gym. And my spiritual gym is being like, okay, I look myself in the mirror and I don't like this, or I don't like that, or I hear my voice, or I watch myself on a Facebook Live and I feel I cringe a little bit or whatever. And then it's not that, the irony is you can't shame yourself for the things that you're ashamed about. Once we become aware that we feel shame, or we feel embarrassment, or we feel fear, or we feel disgust, or we feel any of these things, can I love myself even though I feel that? And so I literally will actively invoke something that is easy for me to love, and then I will direct that feeling. When I'm recovering through trauma, I've had a lot of experience with it feeling very scary sometimes in my body. The sensations arise in my body that make me feel, oh no, maybe something's wrong. Maybe I'm having a heart attack. Maybe I'm having, maybe there's a tumor. Maybe, so the paranoia is about body sensations is a very common thing for people that are recovering from trauma. And so when that comes up and I just direct love to those sensations, or say I'm in pain, or say I feel sick, and just oh yeah, can I love that? And this is, it often will melt away. It'll often transform. It'll often dissolve. It'll often open up. So you hear these cliches about the power of love, and it really is true. when you start directing love that you would give to another that you really care about towards yourself, and specifically towards the things that you don't like about yourself, things will really start to open up and break through. And then you will also have a tremendous wellspring and motivation for cultivating positive attributes in your life, because you're not doing it from a place of whipping yourself into shape, which is going to be counterproductive. You will end up rebelling against it. How many people have already quit their New Year's resolutions, right? It's like, if they're doing it from a place of rah, 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 that thing that we're taught to fire ourselves up. If I knew this when I was an athlete, oh man, amazing. If I knew how to like get myself into the zone through positive, loving emotions as opposed to through firing myself up with anger and intensity, I would have been much better. I would have had much higher performance capacity. So, and the stuff I'm talking about is not, we're not swinging the pendulum all the way to the PC where everything is like every kid has to get a medal and it's never appropriate to walk it off or suck it up. Like, some of those things are valid. Some of those things are honorable. There is a middle ground. But we have this macho over here on the continuum. We have the kind of the effeminate, the effeminization of, I don't even know if that's a word, the emasculation of men over here. And in the middle, there is a way that we can be open. There's a way that we can be tough. There's a way that we can be strong. There's a way that we can be soft. There's a way that we can be loving. There's a way that we can be firm. There's the way that we can be protectors. There's a way that we can be vulnerable. That is where the rich stuff happens in life. And it's not going to happen if you don't lean into those dark and scary places with love, acceptance, and courage. It actually really does require courage. And that's not just a metaphor. All right, y'all. That's what I've learned through kind of overcoming some of that difficult masculine things. And I just wanted to share some of that with you. Love you all. Remember to drop a thumbs up if you want that free video class, and send me a private message if you want to talk about any of this stuff that is too personable to leave a comment in the comments below. And hope you have a beautiful day, and I'm off to play soccer with my kids. Love you all. Cheers.